Given the fact that we have game journalist phenom Jeff Gerstmann with us, we decided we'd do a little extra stuff that'll be available for the web. So, Jeff, thanks so much for sticking around for this web exclusive.
Hey, no problem.
So, you've been working in the games industry as a journalist for a long time. You and I both back in, 1998, where I remember doing Banjo-Kazooie with you. How have you seen gaming journalism change in all this time?
Well, I think, gaming journalism has changed in a lot of the same ways that the game industry has changed over the last, 11 or 12 years. It's become a much bigger business all around. There's a lot more money at stake. So as a result, everything's gotten a little more corporate. Everyone's a little more careful. The kind of freewheeling days of, pre-E3 back at CES when the games were there of just like crazy debauchery out in this tent out at CES and all this stuff. All that stuff's long gone, and the suits have kind of taken over.
Yeah, I cry a little bit for the good old days. Now, obviously, you yourself are starting to blog at jeffgerstmann.net. But in addition to that, we've really seen the rise of the blogs, places like Kotaku and Destructoid, that have really taken a preeminent position because of their ability to update news so regularly. Have you seen that change the way that everyone's trying to report on the games industry?
I think so. I think that's something that you're seeing across the internet, not necessarily just covering games, but just these smaller, more nimble teams are able to kind of attack what's most important right at that moment, where kind of the more established sites are having a little trouble getting to stuff quickly and figuring out what's most important to their readers at that exact moment. And sites like Joystick and Kotaku and Destructoid, and I think they've been really good at doing that stuff. Now,
another aspect of some of these blogger sites, and it's something that I think you and I also are very much practicing, is getting those little snarky comments to the point that there almost seems to be a one-upmanship with the snark. Are we getting a little bit out of control on this, and it's something we should be aware of?
Yes, definitely. I think that, people are getting a little bit too snarky and really just a little bit too negative. I think, the thing that always drives me in covering games is that I really like games. And I always
good
have.
For the job.
So, yeah, exactly. It seems like a good fit. So, kind of going out of your way to fit in this jab here or this hook there to get readers to like your stuff at the expense of totally disrespecting this team of people that just spent 18 months busting their ass to make a game.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not so into that.
There actually are human beings that are associated with all aspects of this industry.
Yeah.
Now, on the flip side of the snarky comments, both you and I have been victim to a myriad of unsavory comments because of our reviews or just by virtue of being on television. How do you handle stuff like that? I'm almost looking to you as a man looking for advice.
With the fists, man. You got to say, I'm Seth's dog, fool. I don't play. No, I mean, it's at some point you have to realize that, a lot of the people out there commenting on stuff like this are in a real vocal minority. People aren't as likely to write in and say, hey, I really liked that thing you did, because they just assume that, you get paid and that's how you feel good about it. So, it is pretty negative out there. And I think that's, part of the reason why the internet has gotten so snarky is because you have all these message boards and it's just a big snark fest of people trying to outdo each other across the board.
Right, and just so you know, I always agree with your review on Virtua Fighter 3 TB. You're dead on that one. Jeff, thanks so much for taking this extra time.
You can't find that online anymore.
Thanks for joining us today for this extra web exclusive. And obviously, if you would like to see more Jeff Gerstmann, make sure you tune in tonight on XPlay. That's 8 p.m. Eastern.